All right. This is the Dvar Malchut. This is the speech of the Lubavitcher Rebbe in Shabbat Chazon. The Rebbe would speak on Shabbat, and there was a whole group of Hasidim that had amazing memories. And they would sit afterwards, and they would go over the Maimorim, and they would write them down. They would go, not the Maimorim, everything that the Rebbe said. They would go over everything the Rebbe said, and they would hand it into the Rebbe. Sometimes the Rebbe would give back everything. Sometimes he would give back certain aspects, certain things. In other words, here we have a speech of the Rebbe that the Rebbe gave in 1991. Yes. Oh, this is what I want to do. And then the Rebbe would go over it and he would give it back. So here we have, this is one of the speeches of the Rebbe, Shabbat Chazon, Tisha B'Av, Nidche. Now, this year that the Rebbe spoke, it comes out not exactly like this year that we have now. And that year that the Rebbe spoke, Tisha B'Av fell out on Shabbat. But what happens when Tisha B'Av falls out on Shabbat? It's pushed off to Sunday. So practically it comes out to be the same thing as now, as this year. In other words, Tisha B'Av falls out on Sunday. The difference is that this year it falls out on Sunday automatically. And the day before it is called Shabbat Chazon. The day before it, the Shabbat, is called Shabbat Chazon because we learn about the vision. It's the Haftorah of this, the vision of Isaiah. And that sentence that we just learned in Likuti Torah, Tzion b'mishpat tapara, that's the end of this prophecy of Isaiah. It's called Chazon, the vision of Isaiah. And it says that one of the reasons it's called Chazon is because God gives us a vision of the third temple. That it's there present. You can see, I personally have never seen it, but it's there. And this is a Tisha B'Av Nidche. Tisha B'Av that fell out on Shabbat, and the Tisha B'Av is pushed off to Sunday. The only time we ever fast on Shabbat is if Yom Kippur falls on Shabbat. But no. Shekasher Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbat, and the fast is pushed off to the next day. So therefore, it has a little bit of, it's similar a little bit to the 9th and the 10th day of Tishrei, which that's the holiday of Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur. It says that on Yom Kippur, according to it says the Torah seems to imply that you should fast 2 days on Yom Kippur. You should fast on the 9th and the 10th of Tishrei. And of course we don't. So it says if you eat on the 9th, it's as though you fasted on the 10th. Let's go. Yom Emelu, these days, Ubafrat Bavom B'Shabbos Tisha B'Av, when we are coming from the Shabbat of Tisha B'Av that's pushed off, Heim Yomim Mesugolim B'Yoter. These are special days, and they are very ripe and ready for the arrival of the Mashiach. Okay, I'm sure that you all know that Mashiach is a very essential in Judaism. If you read the Maimonides, which that's the book the Rebbe instituted that Chabad should try to finish it every year, is very interesting that the Maimonides, he has 14 books packed with laws, all these amazing details of all of the laws in every aspect of Judaism. The only book that does that, every single aspect of Judaism, laws about impurity in the temple and the sacrifices and things that aren't relevant now, that'll only be relevant when the third temple is built. And right at the end of the book, he says that the whole point of this whole business, all these 14 books, is the Mashiach. And then he defines what the Mashiach is, what the Mashiach is going to be. A person that's going to learn Torah, that's going to inspire all the Jews to do the Torah, is going to be the commandments, all the commandments according to the rabbis, according to this, and he's going to try to force the Jews to convince, and he will try to convince all the Jews to do the Torah, and he will fight the battles of God. Anything that's against Judaism, he'll battle. And it says anybody who does that, that's, you can suppose that's the Mashiach. And if he succeeds, what's his goal? His goal is to build the holy temple and draw all the Jews back to the land of Israel. Then that's the goal of Mashiach. But anyone who even tries to do these things, that knows all the Torah and tries to bring all the Jews the Torah, is that we can consider that is the Mashiach. Good, so we have the criterion of that person. Anybody who possesses those criterion, as says the Rambam, that you must wait for him and follow him. And anyone who does not believe in this and wait for Mashiach, he denies all the 14 books that I just wrote. Throw them away. You've gone against all these 14 books. That's what the Rambam says. That's how important and essential this idea of Mashiach is. And we don't have to look that far. We see the story of the Bible. If there wasn't for Moses, the Jews simply would have, to this very day, would be in Egypt. Or there wouldn't even be any Jews. Who knows what would have happened. So without Moses, the Jewish people wouldn't have been in Egypt. They wouldn't have gone through the desert. For sure, they wouldn't have come to the land of Israel. They didn't want to come into the land of Israel anyway, even when they were out of Egypt and they wouldn't have received the Torah. So we need a great leader to go against our natures. We need a great leader, and for sure, God is going to send us this leader. And of course, the Lubavitcher Rebbe has all the qualifications of this leader. And you can say, well, one second, he's not alive. But if you look at the qualifications, that's not one of the disqualifying disqualifying laws. Disqualifying laws is if he just fails. He just totally fails, doesn't succeed in his plan. And we see that the Rebbe is succeeding more and more. So in any case, it has to be a real thing, and it has to be very important. Now, Mashiach and the redemption is two things. One thing of the Mashiach is that he's going to bring the redemption. He's going to convince the Jewish people and eventually the whole world that God exists and that the Torah is true, and etc. So says the Rebbe, therefore Mashiach is supposed to come any single second. And for some reason it hasn't been up to now. Wait, the Mashiach Tzikenu, that the Mashiach should actually come and redeem the Jewish people. The Mashiach is here, but he has to come and redeem the Jewish people. Right? The Jewish people are now in a tremendously confused state of being. Nosaf al-Kain, shezeh ikar be'emunas Yisrael. This is a main thing of the faith of the Jewish people. Ani mamin, I believe. She'achakeh lo kol yom. We will wait every day that he will come. Like it says, shiavo b'kol yom. We hope the Mashiach will come every day, and that's it. The Jewish people, their conscience will flip, their priorities will change, and that all of a sudden the whole world will consequently change. That's a blessing. Ubafrad be'it hazot, and especially now. So that's what we're waiting for. Just like the Jews got out of Egypt one day, boop, they never dreamed there would be such a thing. It's going to be 1,000 times more now. So we're awaiting something that, even though we know in general what it is, but we have absolutely no idea of the immensity and the suddenness of the change that's going to be. Kamadubar Acharona, like it says later on, Kama like many times. There's the story in the Bible, right, about Ezekiel raising up the dead bones, the dry bones. So these bones, I mean, these were bones. These people never expected that they were going to, come back to be alive again. And they came back alive, and they were young, and it says they got married. And so it's something like that. That was the prophecy of Ezekiel. This was he actually enlivened 20,000 people. Who knows how many people? That this is something like, just like a little of a sort of a spoiler for the future redemption. According to this, Simon Geula, according to all the signs of what's supposed to be the Geula, the future redemption, the Mashiach is here, take of him yad mamash immediately. And the fact that the Mashiach has not yet come and done his job, it's not understood at all. Mudgash, so it's understood more. Now, this we can stress this even more in the month of Av. That's what we started now, right? We're on the second day of Av today. Kireita b'midrash, like it says in the midrash. What does it say? Allah Aryeh b'mazal Aryeh v'hichrivet Ariel. It says there came Aryeh, which was the lion, in the month of the lion, and he destroyed the lion. So he says, who was the lion? The lion was Nebuchadnezzar, the king. And he came in the Mazal Aryeh, that each month has one of the 12 signs of the zodiac Of is the sign of the lion. In the month of the lion, and he destroyed the lion that's a Beis Hamikdash. It's called the lion, Ariel, because the front of the Beit Hamikdash is a little bit wider than the back. So it's like crouching like a lion. Like a lion has this big mane, right? This big thing. Why did this happen? Almanad, in order Shiavo Aryeh, in order that the lion, this is God, B'mazel Aryeh, which is the zodiac of the lion, the same month of, that God will hafcham the simcha, that God will transform the mourning into joy. That's the prophecy over there of what is it, Zechariah, the Yivneh Ariel, and he will build the Ariel. He will build the Ariel. He'll build the third temple. Kolomer shebechodesh Av, that in the month of Binyan Beis Hamikdash Shlishi, there will be the third temple will be built. Third temple. It's got to be built sometime. That the prophecy says that it'll be built in the same month that it was destroyed. Mikdash Hashem konani yadecha, like it says, the holy place of God, you will make yourself. That this explains the opinion. It's written also in the Gemara and the Zohar places that the third temple is going to come from heaven. It's already ready, and it just has to be revealed. Mikdash Hashem konan dech, that God Himself is going to make the holy temple. V'yater mizu, and even more, zu hi hakavana. This is the intention and the tanai and the condition. Al manat, it says that the reason that Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the temple was on the condition, al manat, in order that. Right? Nebuchadnezzar was the lion that came in the month of which is the lion, and he destroyed the lion, the holy temple, in order that, al manat. Al manat means in order for. Mikdash Hashem konan yodecha, v'yater mizu, this is the intention, al manat. The reason the temple was destroyed was in order that it should be rebuilt even better. That's why it was in this month. And like it is mudgash, like it is stressed also in the name of the month. What is the name of this month? This name of this month is, and the custom of the Jewish people is Torah. It's called Menachem Av. The name of the month is really Chodesh Av. But the Jewish people added the word Menachem Av. Shelifnei Av, that before the month of Av, which is a bad month, that's the month that the temple was destroyed, that the spies said they wouldn't go into the land of Israel, etc. 2 temples were destroyed. If you look, it says that other things happened, like that the Jews were expelled from Spain, I think, on this day, and other. And the word Menachem means to comfort the month of Av, that before of Shelifi, Lifnei, Shem HaChodesh, that before the name of the month, it precedes the word Menachem, that God comforts us. What's the only comfort the Jewish people can possibly have for these thousands of years of suffering and torture and murder and what? The only possible comfort that we can have that'll comfort us on all these tears and pain and suffering and unanswered prayers is the future redemption. Then everything is going to make sense. This indicates that in this month will come Nachama Geula. That's why Menachem Av. Menachem, it means that in this month, not only of which was the bad things, but also Menachem Av, it will comfort us. What will comfort us? The future redemption. And what is this future redemption, by the way? The future redemption is simply the revelation of good. The revelation of good. But a good we never imagined. I mean, just think 1 second. It says that the dead are going to come back to life. That's one of the 13 principles of faith in Judaism. If you don't believe in that, then you got a big hole in your Judaism. The dead are going to rise up. Why are the dead going to rise up? What's the point of the dead rising up? The point is that there's no point. The point is that it's the essence of God. And that the essence of God can only be revealed in this physical world. Makes no sense. But that's the true comfort of us and of the world. To feel alive. To be alive. It's amazing. Like a baby. Right? A baby is born, everybody's happy. Right? A baby is born. It's an amazing miracle. He's alive. He's healthy. Is it? And all of a sudden everything is going to be alive. That's the essence of what the future redemption is life, meaning, holiness. You say the person feels useful, that he's here for a reason, that he's here because he's valuable. That's what the future redemption is going to be. Well, the main thing is stressing the future redemption. What is a human being? That we're going to feel. What is man? What is a human being? Jews first. This is going to comfort us all of the things of what is of. By means of by means of transforming the things which are not good, that namely the descent of the month of Av, to the elevation, the greatest elevation there can be. Like it says, Menachem, it will comfort us that will come the lion, which is Hashem himself, in the same month, and he will build the third temple. Asher Almanat Kain, you have to read it. That's the whole reason it was destroyed. In the month of Ab, it's something like, father, you ever see sometimes, I don't know if people do this anymore, but a father plays with his son, right? And he hides himself from his son. And the son cries, where's daddy? And all of a sudden daddy reveals, oh, the son is happy, that's daddy. And especially when he runs and he hugs his father, oh, his father could almost cry, I'm so happy. My son loves me, right? He's happy to see me. And the son really is happy to see. So it's the same thing. God has hidden himself from us. And when it's happening, it's terrible. But when it's revealed, it'll be very wonderful, very great. I think he's hidden himself a little too long, personally. The rabbis say, Shebiyom Tisha B'Av, the rabbis say that in the Tisha B'Av, the day that the temple was destroyed, Yalid Malchut Mashiach, that was the day when the Mashiach was born. Where does that say that? Here. In the Talmud Yerushalmi. And also in Eicha, the Eicha, the book that we read on Tisha B'Av, written by Jeremiah the prophet, Eicha Rabbah, by Midrash Eicha. And also in Midbar Rabbah, other places. Am I going to get back? Okay, I have to go scroll up. Easy to get there. Maybe I could, all right. So it says in the day that the day that the temple was destroyed, as that is when Mashiach was born. Yalid Malchut Mashiach, that's when the Mashiach was born. Inyan Zeh, this, Chosar Alatzmo, every year it returns on itself. Bakal Tisha B'Av, every Tisha B'Av. Why don't we see it? You'll let us Shal Adam, because the day that a person is born is Mazlo Gover. It says that the day that a person's birthday is a lucky day. It's a special day for a person. That's why the Rebbe said we should celebrate birthdays. It's a Mazlo Gover. It's a day that you can give blessings to people and that you are blessed. Nimsa Shal comes out that the Tisha B'Av, which is the day the Mashiach was born, this is his lucky day. Mizgaber Mazal Shal Mashiach, the Mashiach's Mazal, his blessing is increased. V'hu Yom Mesugel, so it's a special, propitious day from a holiday for the future redemption, a complete redemption. And this is also relevant to law. Like the rabbis say, there's a prayer we say on the Shmon Esrei of Tishrei, of Tisha B'Av. There's a prayer which is called Nachem. Nachem Hashem Elokeinu. The Shliach Tzibur, he says it in the morning and the afternoon, but the people who pray, they say it in the afternoon. B'Yom Tisha B'Av Mincha, we say it in the afternoon prayer. Shmon Esrei. Because then Mincha, at the Mincha, the last prayer of Tisha B'Av, that's when the Mashiach was born. And the Mashiach is called Menachem. That's what it says. Mashiach is called Menachem. Menachem Shemo. Yesh Lomar, we can say, the name of the Mashiach is Menachem. Yesh Lomar, and that's why we say Nachem, Hashem. Hashem should comfort us. Yesh Lomar, we can say, Shekasher Tisha B'Av, when Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbos, like this year it does not fall on Shabbos. When the Rebbe was speaking, it did. This year it comes out the same thing as though it fell on Shabbos, namely that if it falls on Shabbos, it's pushed off to the next day. And this year it's on the next day. Tisha B'Av is on Sunday. If it's pushed off, a tiny is then we say Nachem Nidche. We say Nachem on Sunday. Azai Nidche Rake and Yanim Abilti Yitzuim. We can say that if Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbat, then only the bad things are pushed off, the fast and the laws of mourning. But in Yanim Achiyuvim, but the good things should be Yom Zed, namely that on this day of Tisha B'Av was born the Mashiach, is not pushed away. Afilu lo nechlashim, it's not even weak. So if Tisha B'Av would fall on Shabbos, so it means that Shabbat would be the day that the Mashiach would be born. Adarabba, in Yanim Atovim, the good things are even more revealed. The reason is, we can say that everything in the world, including everything, even the highest things in the whole Seder Ishtalshes, the highest spiritual, mystical, mysterious things that there are, like the angels and even the 10 Sfirot, we say, which are higher than the angels, everything was created for the sake of the Jewish people. What do you mean for the sake of the Jewish people? That we should enjoy it? No. They were created for the Jewish people to improve. Bishvili, and for the sake of the Torah. That's what it says, Breshit, Bara Elokim, Be Reshit. Two things in the God created the world. God created the world for the sake of two things, Be Reshit, the Jews and the Torah. Machshavatam Shel Yisrael, the thought of the Jewish people. That's what we just finished learning in the Maimer. The thought of the Jewish people was even before the Torah. The Torah was given for the sake of the Jews. Like it says, Tzavetz Bnei Yisrael, that explains how it is that Moses broke the tablets in order to save the Jews. And broke the tablets, because as precious as the tablets are, the Jews, even though they were big sinners, are even more. Dvar al Bnei Yisrael, like it says, Daber al Bnei Yisrael, speak to the Jewish people. Hurry. Lo tetachen mitziut ba'olam, there cannot be anything in the world, kolel kaviyat zman, including a certain time, hatoli, which depends on the sun and the moon and the stars. Time is measured, it's an astronomical thing, right? Not exactly. Time is a godly thing. And the stars and that just indicates what time it is. But time is a thing that exists independently from the stars. If anything, we could say that the stars move according to the time. Time determines the stars, not that stars determine the time. The stars and the time are just signs for when this is happening. Shenivra b'shvil Yisrael. It's like saying, a thermometer, a person has a fever, he puts a thermometer in his mouth, and it comes out 40, he says, get rid of that thermometer. It's making you, giving you a temperature. It's not so. The temperature causes the thermometer. It's the same thing. Time is what causes the stars to move around so that we know what time it is. It says, everything in the world was created for the sake of the Jews. Time, the stars, everything. Asher tafriya o tachlish chas v'shalom hamshachas Geula kedusha el bnei Yisrael. I'm sorry, I skipped the sentence over here. Hari lo yetechen. Oh, that's the sentence. Lo tetechen. It cannot possibly be an existence of anything in the world. The world was created for the Jews, so it cannot possibly be that there's anything in the world, including time, Tisha B'Av, that depends on the sun and the moon, that it was created, that all these things were created for the sake of the Jews, that in order the Jews should serve God. It cannot be that these things can disturb or even weaken the revelation of godliness which the Jews accomplish. Kolel val kol kama v'kama, including, and how much more so, the thing which is so essential to the Jewish people, like the giving birth to the Mashiach. So Tisha B'Av, a terrible time, but don't let that stop you. Exactly the opposite. The whole essence of the Jewish people is to bring godliness into the world. That's why the world was created, so that we bring godliness into the world. It cannot be that the world will stop this unless we misunderstand the world. Right? We give too much importance. Alachas kama v'kama, how much more so kasher medubar b'nogei liyom Shabbos, especially when we're talking about the day of Shabbat. And we're talking about this Shabbat. Cave, and since the Jewish people, they are the partners of Shabbat. It says God created the world. Every day has its partner. Sunday as Monday, Tuesday as Wednesday, Thursday as Friday. What about Shabbos? No partner. It says, Jewish people, they'll be your partner. Hein Shabbos, hein Bnei Yisrael, they are above all divisions of time. Shar Yom Shavua, the day of the week, Shilakol Echad Me'em, has a partner. And Shabbos is attached to the future redemption. The day of Shabbat, it happens every week, but that's a little bit sort of like what the redemption is going to be. Kamuba, like it says in the Shir Shabbos, Mizmor Shir L'Yom Shabbos, Mizmor L'Shir La'atid Lavo. This is a song. It's one of the psalms, right? Of we say on Shabbat, the Mizmor, the song of Shabbat. It's for Shabbat, and it's this. It's called the song, the psalm of God for the future to come. It's also called Shabbat. Yom Shekula Shabbat U'Menucha L'Chai Olamim. The day which is totally Shabbat and a rest, eternal rest from bad things, not rest from good things. Kol Shabbat, and the whole Shabbat is the whole 20 whatever hours of Shabbat, 26 hours, 20, the whole Shabbat is holy. So it's impossible to say Shabbat nidche chas v'shalom inyan nale zeh etzel b'nei Yisrael. So it can't be that Shabbat, it pushes off the coming of the Mashiach. What's the Rebbe trying to say? On Tisha B'Av, Mashiach is born. If it comes out that Shabbat, that Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbat, right? And this year it does not, but in the years that it does fall on Shabbat, so Shabbat pushes off Tisha B'Av. Says, hey, Tisha B'Av is the day Mashiach is born. You mean Shabbos pushes off the coming of the Mashiach? He says, no. That Shabbos pushes off Tisha B'Av, it only pushes off the bad things of Tisha B'Av. But the good things, for instance, the birth of the Mashiach on Tisha B'Av still remains even more. Shabbat dochet kol inyan bilti ritzuyim. Shabbat only pushes away the bad things. That's also the idea of the future redemption. It'll push away the bad things. All of our misconceptions and all of our tensions and our aggressions and things like that, and that we're thinking about in the future. In Yanim Shal Hepech Geula, that's what Shabbos pushes away. But he megale yoter, and it reveals, Shabbat strengthens even more this idea of the future redemption on Tisha B'Av. The idea that the Mashiach was born on Tisha B'Av. So especially this year, we're going to have it, especially because Tisha B'Av falls on Sunday, and Shabbat is the preparation for it. Or Befrad, and especially this Shabbat, which, and then when the Rebbe spoke, it was Shabbat Tisha B'Av, is Shabbat Chazon. This Shabbat is also Shabbat Chazon. Chazon, what does it mean? That we read the prophecy of Isaiah, that Isaiah had a vision. It says, well, but that's true, but also this Shabbat is called the Shabbat of vision. Shabbat, Machazeh. Shabbat Zu, it says that every Jew is shown the future temple, but it's far away. Like it's known, the story from this is a story from Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Berditchev that said, "Ubafrat shemavorim zeh," especially when you explain this with the garment, with the example, a mashal of a garment. And I'll tell you what this is before. Me'av sheish lo ben. Once upon a time there was a father. This is the example that Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Berditchev gave. It says, what is this third temple like that we see on Shabbat Chazon? What do we see? It says, once upon a time there was a father, a king, and he had a beautiful son that he loved him very much, and he gave him a special garment. And the son didn't know what to do with the garment. He was a king's son, did whatever he wanted to, so he wrecked the garment. He went out and he played football in the garment. So the father said, what did you do? He said, oh, I used the garment you gave me. It's a football uniform, right? The father said, no, you don't understand. I'll make you another one, but this one you have to be careful with. That was really very expensive. Oh, I'm sorry, Daddy. He takes the second one, and sure enough, he used the second garment also for mountain climbing. The simple things like this, mountain climbing, you use it. The father said, what did you do? He said, oh, I used the second garment for mountain climbing. That's more honorable sort of a thing. The father said, no, you don't understand. So I'll make you a third garment, but I'm only going to just show it to you once in a while until I'm sure that you understand the value of it. And so that's the thing. God gave us a first temple. We didn't use it properly. The second temple. So now God has a third temple, and he shows it to us, holds it up from far away, and he shows it to us on the day of Tisha B'Av, on Shabbat Chazon. on Shabbat, the Shabbat right before Tisha B'Av. Even though that the Nimshal, it's talking about what? It's talking about the Beit HaMikdash, right? The garment is a metaphor for the Holy Temple, the three garments. Hamore Shegiloi Mikdash Nimshach Yoter Begiloi Bebechinas Lavush. And of course, a garment is not so visible as a holy temple. They're seeing the holy temple. Shekarov Yoter LaAdam. A garment is a thing which is closer to a person. It's true. Al derech ha'inyan, like it says, big de kahuna, like the garments of the Kohen. This is much closer to us. But so, how much more so? And every Shabbat. But the revelation, the Moshiach Shel Yisrael, the revelation of the Savior of the Jewish people, the Mashiach, on this day is even more powerful than a garment. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak brought an example of a garment. A garment he was holding close, right? This is a house. This is a house. A house is a thing that's more distant, but nevertheless, because it's bigger, and because this we're talking about the future redemption is supposed to be right any second, so therefore, this third temple is being shown to every single Jew on this day of Shabbat Chazon. Like it's expressed in the beginning, Tzion, in the end of the Haftorah of Shabbat Chazon, Tzion b'mishpat teparev v'shaveh b'tzedakah. Like it says that the Jewish people will be redeemed through Torah, through the commandments, through charity. We will be redeemed. We'll actually get this third garment, or in our case, the third temple. We'll actually get it. And this is being shown to us on this day. So that's going to be this Shabbat that we're coming to. This is Shabbat Chazon, getting ready for the building of the third temple. So the whole idea of Tisha B'Av is not just to mourn the temple, which of course we should do, but mourn for the temple and that oy vavoy lanu and how bad we are, but exactly the opposite. It is to mourn the fact that right now the temple's not right here. It should be here any second now, any instant. Right? Why is it not here? We're very impatient. We're very impatient. So that's the mourning we do because it's a commandment to mourn. But the fact of the matter is, it should be tremendous anticipation for something which is supposed to happen any single instant now, any instant. And we just have to be ready for this incredible miracle, because for sure it's going to happen. That's the essence of the Jewish people, like we started the class. The Rambam says anybody who doesn't believe in this and wait for it to come, he's denying the whole entire Torah. So for sure, if you put on tefillin, you have to put on actually tefillin. Boxes, it has to be real. So Mashiach has to be something real, and it has to be something that's really going to come. And if you don't say that the Lubavitcher Rebbe is Mashiach, so it has to be somebody exactly like that, right? Maybe he'll have a different shape of a nose or something like that, but that, it is a commandment to be waiting, to believe and to be waiting for a person like this, because without it, we Jewish people are finished. We are totally basket cases. If it wasn't for that, we would think that everything is okay, and we just need maybe a little bit of change. You know, they have to, a little, what do you say, a little cosmetics. You know, they have to let us go up on our bias, and then everything is finished, or whatever. It's so far away from that, we have no idea. The good which is waiting for us is incredible, incredible, and we deserve it, and God promised it, even if we don't deserve it. And so therefore, any single second, this future redemption has to come, and that's what the Rebbe is trying to make everybody crazy for, including all of us, I hope. And we'll talk about this more, God willing, tomorrow. Now let's do the Yom Yom. Yom Yom. Let's see. I want to do this over here. Excuse me. Yom Yom Chabad. Okay, the second day of Menachem Av. I think we did this before. A boy begins on putting on tefillin 2 days before his bar mitzvah. 2 months. Oy. A boy begins putting on tefillin. That's our custom. 2 months before his bar mitzvah. First he says without the bracha, and then a couple of weeks later, right? A couple of weeks after he starts, he says it with a blessing. And the Rebbe said that also in Chabad, that the boys should put on also Rabbeinu Tam tefillin. as well. Okay, hope to see you all at 3 o'clock with Mashiach Now. Have a good day. God bless you all, and thank you for coming to class.